so much for coming. We didn't anticipate this many people being here, so it's kind of intimidating, but that's why we put our courage power on.
Right.
Not be intimidated. We're going to play a little game. It's fun. And it's called Outliers. Anybody played it? It's a big meta game. Those of you who are here, you've got a red card and a blue card. And so that's basically all you need to know. So the question is, which is more frequently experienced for faculty development? All right? Workshop or quiet misery? Okay. Next one, listen or do?
All right, blue is the minority. Sit down, blue.
Read or experience?
Perfect. Blue is the minority. Sit down.
Sit down. Targeted problem for red or exploration blue?
Blue is the minority. Sit down.
Have a seat, blues. External expert or local expert?
Looks like red's minority. Sit down.
Have a seat. Okay, next one. Face-to-face for red or online blue?
Okay, blue is the minority. Sit down. Not surprising.
Yeah. One size fits all or individualized?
Blue is a minority. Sit down.
Building culture or herding cats?
Everybody picked blue, so everybody remains standing.
Buccaneer scholar or status quo?
All right, blues.
Okay,
You
so
are the winners.
you are the winners. So we had enough cards to keep going. Eventually, the object of the game is to be the last person standing. You're the outlier. That's the name. Good job. So one of the things from my gaming experiences that really kind of hit home for me as I was immersed in these virtual worlds was how powerful they could be for players, but also for people who are trying to herd the cats and to work towards goals together. And as I started thinking about that, I started thinking about my teaching practice, and I realized that game elements really is good pedagogy. And so thinking about good pedagogy, I really kind of started working with faculty in terms of thinking about how can we get faculty to get excited about using games in higher education.
Can you hold the mic closer?
Sorry, is this better?
Yeah.
Okay. So, real quick. And again, I use this metaphor of the rock skipping across the pond. So those of you who don't know what that means because you didn't have that experience, we're just going to do touch points along the way. So these are listed the game elements. If you start thinking about your own teaching practice, you can kind of see where you have elements in your pedagogy or in your classes, in a particular activity you have students do.
So these following game design strategies here I chose when I was designing the game Mystery of the Devil Goat. I'm the campus administrator for the university, so I was trying to think of another way that I could bring faculty development about Campus Out because we're going into our 4th season. So we're pretty veteran on it right now, so I needed to get a way to inspire them a little bit. So I picked the motivator, and under that was affiliation, loyalty, curiosity, and winning. And affiliation mainly because you're wondering why Mystery of the Devil Goat, and that's because it has to do with our university, and we'll explain that a little bit more later. The game mechanics I used were quest, epic choice, levels, and random. The victory condition was solve the mystery, collect the flags, and collect the campus tutorials. And the social mechanics were the inventory, map, notebook, communal collaboration.
So one of the things that I do, I'm a firm believer that if you want faculty to embrace something new, you have to immerse them in that experience because it kind of demystifies it. And so we are colleagues and we have fun and we talk about it. We talk about what's uncomfortable, what's comfortable. And so I actually host in my university, I do 2 faculty game camps at the end of the semester. They're 2-day immersive experiences where we come in and we actually play different genres of games, critique them, and then faculty then start to design their own games for their own context, their own discipline, which is a lot of fun. And so what's interesting is how faculty will build on their gaming experiences. I had a faculty member who was Dungeons and Dragons fanatic. Had the memorabilia, the whole bit, and so he added a quest layer to his class because he got excited about that. And so this year we did one called Level Up, and so people wanted to keep coming to game camp, so we were looking for things to do new and different. And I don't know if you're familiar with this or not, it's Eris. And Eris is a web-based mobile app that you can use to create quests. And so it's pretty easy to use, and so we brought faculty together, and they put them in groups, and they collaboratively developed a game in 2 days. And we play tested it from beginning to end. So faculty went through that whole process of conceptualizing, storyboarding, building, play testing the game in 2 days. And so, that should be encouraging for you because it's not so daunting that way. And so this is just a picture from Game Camp. You can kind of see how they're involved in those kinds of things. So this was our first experience in using Eris, but I had been at another conference and met one of the developers of Eris and felt like this was something that I wanted to kind of play with and get to learn a bit more about it.
And this was my very first experience in gamer. I have no gaming experience. I get dizzy watching video games. So I started straight from scratch. So I really had a huge learning curve, and it was just a wonderful experience. So, all right, so I got together with Mary after the game camp, and I said, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to create a game for Canvas. Learning management systems aren't really that exciting. What can I do to start bringing this all together? So we started brainstorming some things together. And the first thing Mary asked me was, well, you've got to identify your users. What are their levels? And so we came up with 3 different levels: the Explorer, the Socializer, and the Digital Citizen. So the Explorer we're classifying as a beginning faculty member, maybe an adjunct that's been hired, or someone who has only dabbled just a little bit, maybe just posted their syllabus or files and nothing else. The Socializer is someone who wants to bring in more of the social media elements into this course, who wants to bring in other group activities and other class activities and do mentors and things like that. And the Digital Citizen was someone who wants to go out into the world, start bringing in the experts, start creating their own stuff. So we figured there were 3 different levels. And then we thought about the different topics. What are we always talking about? We're always talking about assessment, collaboration, communication, course design, digital identity, mobile, and multimedia. So after we mapped out those categories, I started looking at Canvas and deciding what part of Canvases align where. And this is how I came up with my strategy to start building the game. And that's where the game goes. And we're on backup plan, so.
We're not ready for that anyways, right?
Yeah.
So what happened is, so we kind of got like the foundational content of what's the game. But the game isn't about content. The game is about what kind of an experience do you want to create for your players. And so we wanted to kind of create an experience for faculty to do a couple of things. 1, develop awareness of the features of Canvas. 2, have some fun, solving a mystery. And then 3 was also for them to kind of play around and see the impact that Eris could have and make them think about connections that they might be able to use this platform with their students. And so that was kind of our motivation behind that. And so University of Mary Washington has this old tradition. I think it's 1938. They had classes competed against each other. So in 1938, the even number year students class picked a mascot, and the odd year students picked a mascot. And so hence we have devils and goats.
That's why
for whatever reason,
devil goat.
Not sure what it's about, but that's the devils and goats. That was what it was about. So, so that's part of it. Old Mary Washington used to be an all-women's college, but it's known that we have these steam tunnels that used to run between the old buildings. And so that's part of our folklore and heritage. We have like this weird statue on the campus. So we kind of looked around the culture of University of Mary Washington and thought, what are some of the elements that we could use to kind of put into the game to make it fun? And then we solicited the help of our friends and our peers and our colleagues to become characters in our game, and that was the next phase.
And we also elicited their help in helping us develop out our storyline. So our storyline is there's been an explosion in the science lab, Judson Science Lab, and faculty are now missing. And there are rumors of devil goats on the campus to help us solve the mystery. So what's happening? So we're going to play the trailer. Hopefully this works.
So this is our cast of characters that you'll see. It's kind of like a little trailer. You've got trading cards of who they are, what happened to them after the game, so you know that they're not lost down in the steam tunnels.
Great, we can do anything with Canvas. That's our statue. It's a devil goat.
This is a design failure of epic proportions. Well, what are you going to do to fix it? Hey there.
learn a lot about someone from their digital footprint. What you're revealing about yourself online. Who are you at the end?
Listen up, everybody. Rumors about devil goats are spreading. Awesome choice.
This looks like crap to me. How do we know this is authoritative information?
Canvas helped us solve the mystery, and we are safe again.
So as players go through the quest, they actually see these characters, their little videos, and then they have three choices of what they want to do. And so those choices are aligned with the different layers that we talked about, the explorer, the social, the digital citizen. And as they choose those choices, they collect items. In this case, for the explorer, they collect a goat flag, and for the social one, it's a devil flag, and then we have our eagle flag for the digital citizens, which is our mascot for our college. And so why that's important is what Lisa's going to tell you about that.
Because in the end, through Eris, I can take a look at their inventory after they've played the game, and that will help me determine what level they're on with their Canvas skills and their expertise, so I know where to plan my next faculty development by looking at that data. So more information about our game can be found on my website here, umwctln.org/play. You can see a little bit more. If you didn't get the little character cards in your seat, you'll see the characters and their little bios online.
We'll also make sure to upload this so you guys can get a copy of it. And I know we didn't expect quite so many people, so we will make sure that the handout that we had, if you didn't get one of those, you can just go to that site as well and grab that, or just send us an email.
Okay. Questions?
Questions? Yes.
How many faculty do you have? How many faculty do you have at your college?
Well, 400, 430, I think. We're up to. Full, part-time, and adjunct.
In my teaching center, everybody is all about the learning, so everybody's welcome in my center. I know a lot of universities kind of cut off what their adjuncts are able to have, and they can't compete for this and those kinds of things, but everybody's equal at my center, so we get a lot of adjuncts coming in, which is really nice. Different kinds of energy. Yes?
There could be a lot of people who are unfamiliar with gaming, and how did you rope them in to get them involved in this?
That's a good question.
To help us with the
motivate
game?
someone for gaming?
Yeah. Let me come back. I know I'm supposed to do this. I'm like, yeah.
The question was someone who's not familiar with gaming, how are we going to rope them in?
Do you mean in helping us do the game or just gaming in general?
To get them involved in this particular undertaking?
Actually, some of the faculty I had worked with before, and our chemistry professor actually does the mad scientist course. And so I thought she obviously had a lot of fun with it, so she said absolutely a help. We have a QEP, which is our quality enhancement plan. We have this new module system, and it is called CRAP. And so that's pulled in for that. We have a lot of digital scholarship and digital identities work going on there. So there's a lot of in-culture references to that. So those are people who kind of bought into that and wanted to have some fun.
We also got the provost involved, which then brings us out to our board of visitors and gets us some traction.
He was a little nervous, but he was good about it.
Hi. So how did you connect the gaming elements with Canvas?
So we collected flags, so we identified the 3 tracks with the different flags. So you saw the chart with the explorers on it. Let's see if we can go back to it. So quickly, just to go
So
right
how did you use, so collecting the flags? So
So
how did
every
that
time
happen
they meet a character, they make a choice. Their choice defines what they're going to collect, which flag they collect, and each flag has a tutorial that goes along with it that's assigned to that level.
So I understand your question. This game happens outside of Canvas, and so as they go through the game, they get links that there's like a notebook feature in Air so they can collect information that they have, and so like links and little pieces of information go in their notebook, in their little backpack that they carry around and virtually. And so that's like a reference for them to then go later to the website and to do those kinds of things. We would love to figure out a way to integrate that right into the whole Canvas. Did you hear that, Canvas people?
Right, so
It would
we
be nice,
web
but it's
links and
separate.
QR codes.
So it's outside and then we see the data. Any questions?
I was just wondering about your motivation for faculty. You know, usually for higher ed, it's mostly, you know, coercion and punishment is how you get people to do things. But how did you get incentivized faculty participation in your game?
For my game camp, I give them a small stipend. It's $200. So they get $100 a day to come play, and they go, well, that's good money. Just come in for a day and play games. But it's really interesting, and it's very low stakes in terms of that. It's more of a community kind of thing to come in as a tech. So that was it. And a nice little certificate. You know, as everybody's talking about, I appreciate the keynote this morning talking about, you know, we need more money. And I know a lot of us have just got the worst hit. Our budgets are being severely cut. So we don't have a lot to play with, but we try to do that.
I was just wondering, given that ARS is usually, it's Mac-centric, right? Did you have any issues with people not being able to participate because of that?
No, we didn't, because when we came to the playtesting part for the faculty game camp, we had enough devices among us that we just kind of shared out, so it was okay. And I know they're working on an Android version.
Did you find that there was growth of interest in Canvas or other things from people who didn't actually get to go to the gaming camp, but you know, they heard about it from other people? Did you find that there was innovation that kind of spread?
Basically, we'll find out this fall, because game camp was this summer. So we'll start picking up our traction now, and then we'll really push this out and do it again in the fall, as far as focusing on just this game instead of the entire game camp. So we'll have that in place soon.
And we're also going to collect some data along the way, so we'll have some numbers to talk about impact, those kinds of things. That's in the fall. We'll launch that for our research slides.
So did you say that you wanted to eventually put it in Canvas, play the game in Canvas as well? Because to me, I would think that would be...
That would be the best of both worlds, wouldn't it? Because it's hard to go from one place to another place. So yeah, that would be ideal if we could figure out a way to push it in or design Canvas in a way that we do kind of quest-based activities would be great.
Have you thought about using an LGI to push the information in?
I've thought about it.
We have it.
Yeah, I'm a center of one person, so I kind of like have to wear many hats. So I had to come here with a fun hat here today. So yeah, you think about it, it's just time.
It would be great.
As everybody wrestles with time and making choices.
Mary, over here.
So the flags are different tools within Canvas. And as part of meeting the individuals in the games, they have to select a tool and then go out and do something. How do you verify that they've added a conversation, added a collaboration, etc. in their course to complete earning the flag?
We can't verify that they've actually done it in their course. It's more about awareness of what's available in Canvas, and then I'll do follow-up with them after the game.
So they earned their flag just by going out there and reading about it?
By going out there reading about it, they'll collect their tutorial, it can be sent to them. And in the end, the first time we did this, we had planned a dinner so we can sit down and talk about all of this, get some feedback, and then start adjusting things that didn't work. So we got some good feedback from that. And we'll find a way to get feedback again in the fall. Any more questions?
I don't know if this is a good sign or a bad sign. Did you understand? One of the dangers, right? write in the game, and assume everybody knows. In our own language.
What are the results? Faculty learning Canvas?
What are the results? Faculty learning Canvas?
Right now we have an 81% usage rate. And when I go in and I take a look at them and start dividing them up into levels, I can bring that down to a 73, which is a level that's at least a socializer or above. So they're using it collaboratively and using a lot of the different elements and features of Canvas to pull it out.
And I think that was part of the thing. It's like when you've got a high number of users at your campus, it's kind of like, what do you do? Different, so that they can learn about other features besides coming in and sitting down and showing. Right. And so that's kind of where that came from, is just to kind of go out and play, and then also as you saw mysteries, you learn new tools that maybe they hadn't thought about using in different ways.
Okay, we have time for two more questions. One over here. Okay. You want to stand up?
So can you air some dirty laundry on what you would do different or what didn't go as you expected and how it...
Well, we went back and forth deciding whether this should be a location-based game or whether it should be open to the community, but because it's so centric to the actual university mythology, we decided to keep it campus-based for now. So we'll run it for a year on that aspect, and then maybe we'll open it up. So anybody, if you're up here in Utah, you'll be able to play it.
I think from a development design point of view, there's a lot of starts, and then you don't want to do that, and then we start. So there's a lot of, when you write your script, it's very layered and very intricate, because depending on the levels that you choose, you go on different quests. So we have like 3 quest lines going on within our game, and I think we have 44 scenes that they work through. So it's pretty ambitious on our part to start something like that, but we wanted to do something really deep, right? And so, so time was an issue, and then just learning, the learning curve that comes with anything that you learn new.
And we did want to build the game to stay within about a 30-minute range for them to play. So, we had to keep that in mind as we were building it out too. So that's a process of elimination of what we want to do as well. Plus some of the other things that we threw in there just because it's in our culture is the craft, and then also ADA, that was important for me as a course designer. I wanted to make sure that was mentioned. So we pulled in some extra little tidbits, a little bit of emphasis on digital identity, interesting things like that, that we just wanted to pull into the game that really wasn't campus focused, but it was our campus focus.
Yes.
One more question?
Well, kind of make a reference to a presentation yesterday, Jared Chapman, and actually developing a skin for Canvas to be able to kind of capture some of that information actually in Canvas.
Right, the second of the session yesterday, we created a skin in Canvas where he actually gamified. It's more gamification, where students will earn points and they level up leaderboards. I do that in my courses in terms of those kinds of gamification aspects, where this one is more kind of a game design where we've actually woven in multiple game elements, so there's kind of a difference between the types. The 2 different types are kind of different, but yeah, absolutely. And
so you're making this coding available for that
that's
process
great.
for some of the folks that were asking.
Nice. Yeah, and I've had faculty who do that with the leader report, and we've got some really good data, powerful data about how students really kind of resonate with that, and how it kind of motivates them in ways that you hadn't expected, which was interesting.
Yeah,
I can talk to you about that later if you like.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you all very much for coming.